Moving along, we'll notice that there's a difference between even roots and odd roots, and whether or not a negative is on the inside of a root or the negative is on the outside of a root. And it will matter as to whether or not the root is even or the root is odd. Okay, but let's start out with some, some basic roots. Let's start out with the square root of 25. With this one, we have a square root or a 2 root. You're asking what number squared will give us 25, and that's the number 5. On this next one, we've got negative square root of 25. So we're going to make sure we do the order of operations and look at what is the square root of 25 first, which is 5. And then we'll put our negative on at the end. So we'll get a negative 5. We're just putting the negative on at the end. Notice in C, we have the square root of negative 25. This is asking something slightly different. Again, this is a square root or a 2 root. What number squared or multiplied by itself twice will give us negative 25? Well, 2 negatives, you'd think that that might work, but what's a negative times a negative is a positive. Well, that doesn't work. If I use a positive number squared, I still get a positive. So there actually is no way for us as of right now to get 2 numbers, two identical numbers, a square, to get a negative value. So for now, we're going to say that this is not a real number. We're careful to say that this is not a real number and not to say that there is no answer, because we will find out later there is an answer. It's just not a simple one. In D, we've got the cube root of negative 27. You'd think that you would get the same answer here, but you do not, because what we're asking for here is what number multiplied by itself 3 times or cubed would give us a negative 27. And this actually is okay. The reason being is a negative times a negative times a negative will just give you another negative. So what number multiplied by itself 3 times will give us a negative 27? Well, let's see. It would be a negative 3. The negative 3 times negative 3 would give us a positive 9, but times one more negative 3 would turn it back into a negative 27. So what number cubed gives us a negative 27? It's the number negative 3. Let's look at E. In E, we've got the negative cube root of 27. So we'd look at taking the cube root of 27 first. Well, we already know that the cube root of 27, meaning what number multiplied by itself 3 times is 27, or what number cubed is 27 would be the number 3. And then we would just put our negative sign on at the end. So notice we do get the same answer as in D, but for kind of a different reason. Let's look at F. We've got the 4th root of 16, meaning what number multiplied by itself 4 times or raised to the 4th power would give us 16, and that's just the number 2. Last one. What's the 4th root of a negative 16? Meaning what number multiplied by itself 4 times or raised to the 4th power would give us negative 16? Well, if I do 4 positives multiplied together, I'll still get a positive. Here's the interesting thing though. 4 negatives multiplied together will still give us a positive, because the first 2 negatives will turn into a positive, and the second 2 negatives will turn into a positive. And then a positive times a positive will give you just another positive. So again, we're running into the same situation that we had in C. So we're not going to say that it's not possible. We're just going to say for right now, we don't know of a way. So we're going to say the answer is going to be not a real number. The last thing that we're going to